Hey, everybody. We are here with Tyson Mutro if you're Canadian, or Mutrux if you're in the States. And I wanted to bring Tyson on because he is you're a personal injury attorney, I believe, and does a lot with social media, which are my two favorite things here: attorneys and social media. And anyone that follows me knows that I believe that all attorneys should be using social media. So Tyson runs a Facebook group where he's actually, working with other lawyers in the Facebook group. But he's a really good example of basically how you can kind of manage a practice and also manage a social media presence. So I wanted to bring you on and talk to you a little bit about that. So thanks for coming on.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about it. So we just had you on the podcast, and so
Yeah, it was
if,
fun.
if your people haven't listened to it, they need to listen to it. It's a good podcast.
Yeah, it's funny. I did two podcasts and I shared them. I got both of them were sent to me the same day, so I'm going to wait a couple of days because I just
Yeah,
shared
that's
the
what you
one.
have
I'm
to
going
do.
to share the other one.
You can't push them out at the same time. You got to wait.
Yeah. I don't want to overwhelm people, but
It's a good idea.
can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do as an attorney, and then kind of what you do with social media, and just give us some background.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a personal injury lawyer in St. Louis. We've got offices in St. Louis and Columbia, Missouri, and so been doing that for it's been 8 years since I've owned my firm. I used to work for a volume practice, one that just does a bunch of advertising, TV, billboards, radio ads, all that kind of stuff. Interesting enough, they don't do a lot of social media. Actually, they don't do any social media. They don't do any SEO really. If you were to look them up on Google right now, they got terrible reviews. They don't focus on any of that. Um, but I started my own firm after leaving that firm, and then so we've got a team of, I think we're eight people total. We run a pod system that's kind of cool. We can get into that if you want to get into that. If not, we don't have to. And then we also have the Maximum Lawyer podcast, which is the podcast you were on, where
Yeah,
we have attorneys on all the time. And it has to do with practice management and marketing and things like that. So
sure,
that's it's kind of all encompassing. I do all that stuff.
absolutely. So, what do you do for your own marketing? Do you incorporate social in your own marketing as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think if you don't, I think you're missing the point of a lot of all this that's going on. And so, but
Hmm.
I think we do a little bit different. I think we do some of the generic push things that you see people doing. Where like I did something yesterday where we pushed out, get out the vote kind of thing. But I don't
Okay.
like to do that much. I think it's too generic and people ignore it. But I'll
Mhm.
do it occasionally. But we try to make it a little more organic with our social media, where it's I kind of wrap in between like wrap together my personal and the business a lot, where because there is especially with a lawyer a lot of overlap with that. I mean, I get a bunch of social media questions, and I get a bunch of Facebook Messenger questions about legal issues, and so it's hard to separate those two. So it is really kind of wrapped in together with each other. A little, I'd like to make it a lot more organic, because I think if you try to push all this stuff out to people, they're going to ignore it, and because I would say 4 or 5 years ago, we hired a social media manager because we thought, okay, we can just hire somebody to kind of do this. And it just doesn't work that way. Social media is like a billboard that you interact with, and you can't interact with some weird person in some other country or another state. They want to interact with you. They having a social media manager, in my opinion, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it can be done right in certain areas, but I think for the most part, you have to interact with the people. Otherwise, it makes no sense. It's social media. It's social for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about value. I mean, and that's kind of, if you look at kind of the traditional forms of social media, the way that social media is actually intended to work before marketers got on and ruined everything. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
basically, there's kind of three pillars. There's your content, which you put your own content out.
yeah.
There's sharing other people's content, and then there's interacting and having conversations with people. And if you're doing and this is a thing that this is what a lot of attorneys make the mistake of is they share their own content and then they forget about the other two. They don't share other things and they definitely don't interact with people. And what you find is that interaction, I'm sure that like you said, you're getting questions on Facebook and Messenger and different things like that. That value and that personal connection is the secret to social media. That's how to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, like just use your Facebook group as an example, right?
Mhm.
Where and I think it's a little more complicated with the lawyer because if you have a closed Facebook group and they're asking legal questions, I think
Yeah.
you can make an argument if you're on the other side that you've now waived attorney-client privilege because they're asking you these legal questions in that group. So it's a little that's why I haven't done that. Although I think done the right way, it's doable.
Mhm.
You got to be very careful with what you do. You provide all this value. If I mean, you charge nothing for your Facebook group. You provide a ton of tips. You're giving just value away. I think that's really what you have to do. That's why we do a lot of videos, and we do a lot of videos. We put them out. I mean, I did one simple on Friday where I was in my hoodie. I actually had left and went home early on Friday and I had my hoodie on. I was in my office at my house, and I shot a little video about a conversation I had with a client about an insurance adjuster because the insurance adjuster hadn't done any investigation on the case and kind of like sort of what to look out for kind of thing. And people watch that, they interact with it, and they really do. I mean, I had people sharing it on Twitter. All I did is I shot a 2 minute video. I clipped it down to a minute so I could share it on Twitter, and I think Instagram has a minute and I shared it in different places, and people were sharing it all over the place. I mean, it's just like I was
Yeah.
providing value to potential clients, and the other thing is like it's with kind of what I do is some of the stuff it's for other attorneys too, where they can get some value from it as well. As let's say that they're a new PI attorney and they don't know how to deal with an insurance adjuster, they get value from our videos too.
Exactly. And something I want to point out that you said you were wearing a hoodie and you just pulled out your phone and did it. I think a lot of people are so obsessed with this thing they want to appear perfect that it stops them, you know. And I
Yeah,
used to do the same thing. I used to always when I first started, I used to always make sure I was wearing like a button down shirt and all that kind of stuff. And then one day I just kind of realized I don't care and nobody
yeah.
cares. Like as long as the information is valuable, you know, nobody's going to say the information was great, but I'm not going to listen to him because he's wearing a t-shirt, you know, like it
Well, I
just
mean, and
not how it happens.
I mean, that's one. I mean, there's a few lessons in this, right? One,
Yeah,
if you want it to be too perfect, you're never going to do it. That's one thing. It's
exactly.
like, oh, I'm too tired today, or I don't have my suit on. I mean, that's one thing. The other part of it is that people, the actual people that watch it, click on your videos, and actually stay watching your videos from start to finish, if you look at the numbers, the statistics show that the polished videos don't get watched as much and they don't get clicked on as much. The more rough around the edges videos, the cell phone videos get watched far more than those polished videos. And so I have a green room, a few rooms down from here that we built out. It's got the camera equipment, the lighting, and all that, but we never use it because we
Yeah.
don't. It's not. They're not as effective as just using that rough video.
Yeah, and it's ease of use too. I mean, it's so much easier for me to pull out my phone and
Yes,
just hit record than it is to set up my 4K video and all my lights in the backdrop and all that type of stuff and make sure the lighting's perfect and make sure the sound's
absolutely.
perfect. And it's just it's kind of like done what will or done is better than perfect. That's my motto for everything.
No,
You
for sure,
know,
and people want to. I mean, so I mean, I'm wearing this and some jeans right now and tennis shoes, and I'll tell you how many
sure.
times clients love meeting me like this because they're like,
Yeah.
"You're a human being. You're not a
Yeah.
robot." And so
Yeah.
people really like that. They really do like it, especially as a lawyer. They don't. People think that they want to see me in this suit. No, they don't. They
Hmm.
don't. Get over your ego. They want to see that you're a human being. It's the whole cliche no like and trust thing.
Yeah.
It all wraps into that. You know, they
Yeah.
don't need some guy that that you're all polished and they want to see that someone that they can relate to.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in, you know, I think times are changing also. You know, I mean, now with the age of the internet and with the age of social media and just more exposure and behind the scenes for everything, you know, even reality TV just kind of takes you behind the scenes where you realize that you kind of want somebody more personable. And the reality also is that nobody is perfect. People aren't perfect, so they can relate to people that have the same problems that they have. And you know, like if you have
Absolutely.
I did a video where my dog was in the background barking, and my wife was like yelling at the dog to be quiet. And that was one of my best videos because everybody's like, "Hey, what kind of dog do you have?" You know, and I was able to relate to people on that level. We're talking about our dogs and all that type of stuff. So it just makes it much more personable, and it shows that you are a real person, and that you know sometimes my 3 year old is going to walk in the room while I'm
Yeah.
filming a video, you know,
I
and
mean,
all
look,
that type of stuff.
you're creating all these different points to connect with someone. I mean, when
Yeah,
you're bringing in these other parts of your life, like that's another way for them to connect with you, whether it's through a dog or a sporting team,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. It could be a variety of things. I mean, I'm looking around your office right now, and I mean, if you pulled a book off of, I think that maybe that orange book might be influenced. I'm not sure
No.
by Robert Cialdini, but okay, that's that. But if you did, you pulled one of those off, you did
Yeah.
connect with them, you talk about it briefly, they have that connection with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it could be anything. I mean, so if you're bringing in these elements of your life, it's ways you connect.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So going back to the value thing, and that's what I think that most people, it's the easiest thing to do. And I think that so many people, it just stops them because they think about, they don't know what to talk about, or, but like the reality is like the information that's in your head, everything you know about, personal injury or criminal defense or whatever it is, that's really valuable information that somebody that's in that situation does not know.
Absolutely.
And it's extremely valuable, like dealing with an insurance adjuster. To you, that's second nature, but to somebody that was just in a car accident, that's really valuable information to know. So it's like anytime you can put that content out there and just help people solve small problems, you're going to make that connection, and they're gonna see your value, and then they're gonna want to follow up with more questions. And what's interesting, like I've talked to some people that are kind of like, and personal injury is a little different because nobody's really going to file a personal injury lawsuit on their own, but like
I don't
uh,
know. I've seen it happen before.
well,
So
that's true.
it has
Yeah, I guess
happened.
never say never, but
Yeah.
or actually, but actually, that's not true. If they try to handle their case on their own or their settlement on their own, but like with estate planning or bankruptcy or different things like that, what I've found is that like I don't hold anything back. I tell all of my secrets because I found that people will still always hire you so they can ask more questions or just to get it done better, faster, or so
Right. Yeah.
so a lot of people kind of worry about giving away too much, but I think give everything away because at the end of the day, you're just going to show how complicated some things are, and they're not going to want to touch it. But now they're going to see that you understand it and you're the authority.
So it's funny you say you said that about because that last point I think is really really important. So you can tell them step by step by step by step by step, and you
Hmm.
think I'm giving away all my secrets. That's not how That's not how they're looking at it. They're
Yeah,
looking at it as, oh my gosh, I got to do all this work.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it off to someone else. With personal injury, especially, it doesn't cost them anything out of their pocket up front, and so they're more willing to do it. I mean, and like if you were to go over, I mean, I used to do a lot of criminal defense. I don't do it anymore, but you explain all the stuff that they have to go through with a criminal defense case.
Hmm.
They're not going to hire a public defender. They're going to get that money to hire you. I mean, there's a variety of ways you can do it to differentiate yourself, to
Yeah.
make yourself the thought leader in that area. You can show it how complicated it is to do it and how much work you do to show your value. There's a
Mhm.
ton of reasons you can do that, but just give it away. They're not going to. What's it going to hurt you? They're not going to steal it from you. They're not going
Yeah.
to. The class not going to go out and start selling what you're talking about. That's not. There is very little risk in it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll do step by step tutorial videos where I'm literally recording my screen saying, okay, click here, click here, click here, click here. And I'll put it out and I'll still get 50 questions about it. So it's like, that's well, all I'm doing is I'm just proving that I'm authority on it,
Yeah.
that I can do this for you if you need help with this.
I mean, you
So,
did. You put that video out. It's either 2 or 3 days ago. It's something that you had mentioned on the podcast too about Facebook creating the custom audiences, or not
uh,
custom audience. No, it wasn't custom audiences. It was creating that location using the
oh
location,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you
which
drop the pin on the hospital or on the
yes, which is great advice, right? And I've
jail.
been wanting to do it, but I haven't had the time.
Yeah.
So like you gave away that free information, which is extremely valuable information, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't had a chance to do it. So I mean,
So so the biggest risk for me is that other marketing companies see it and start doing it.
I can see that. No, I mean, even then, though,
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: you let's say that happens.
Mhm.
My guess is that if they're going to call you, and if they call the other marketing company, and they have
Yeah.
conversations with both of you, and you talk about how you created this video, and if they start hearing that other person repeat same things that you talk about on that video, they're going to
Yeah.
know that they stole it from you.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
and so I mean, and it's so there's who cares? I mean, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but
Yeah.
for the
Well,
most part, you're
it's
getting no benefit out of it.
and that's why I give a lot of this stuff away also, just because like my agency's full. Like we're not really taking new clients. Every once in a while we do, but we really don't take that many new clients just because I don't want to be, fine law with 15,000 lawyers working
Right? Yeah,
that I work for
and
because it's
everyone bitching about
impossible.
you.
Exactly. And everybody hates me and I can't do a good job. And I get everybody locked into a 3-year contract. So I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. I want to have, we've got about 50 clients. We know we can handle 50 clients. We know we can do a good job for 50 clients, but there's a lot of lawyers that constantly contact us and they're like, hey, we need help. So I just started putting stuff out initially just so people can kind of figure out like what good marketing is and what good marketing isn't, because it's amazing how many conferences I'll go to and I'll talk to other people that do marketing for lawyers. Like I'll go to a general search engine optimization conference and
Yeah.
there's always 2 or 3 people there that do marketing for lawyers, and I'll meet them at lunch or whatever. By the end of it, because I just have this habit where I just give away all my information. I'm really, I'd be a horrible, I'd probably be horrible in the stand because I tell the truth about everything. But every time they'll be sitting there like taking notes from all the stuff I'm telling them. I'm like, oh, you can do this and you can do this and you can do this if you need. So
Well,
there's
it's
so
like the
many
go
people
giver.
out
You know, I
there.
mean, there's that element of the go
Yeah,
giver part of it too. You know, where like so who knows that advice you gave to these people, maybe in a couple of years, maybe they remember you and they refer
yeah,
you because they've got a conflict or something. So
yeah,
there,
exactly.
it's not. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't emphasize enough. It's not gonna hurt you. You putting this
exactly.
content out there, it's not gonna hurt you.
I've never had anything bad happen from giving advice and sharing what I know. The only thing that's happened to me, I've had bad things happen. I wouldn't say bad things, but I have not gotten desired outcomes from holding things back. Or I've gotten, what am I trying to say? I've held information back and I didn't get the outcome that I was looking for.
Sure.
Versus when I just tell everything I know and just give someone really good advice and just say, here's what you need to do X, Y, and Z. That's usually when I get, when I accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. Whether it's
Here's one negative. I'll tell you one negative, and I know it's a negative. Especially if you start doing video, you'll start getting haters. No, I don't
oh
care.
yeah,
I don't care what network you're on. I don't care who you share it with. There will be some point where someone says something bad about you, and I think when you first see it, you sort of like it kind of pisses you off, and then eventually, I mean, I looked at my YouTube channel today. I had some negative
mhm,
comments, and they were just stupid comments. People are just stupid. They say stupid things sometimes, and so who cares? Like people
yeah,
are consuming my content. Okay, they're consuming my content. And they're calling me. That's what I really care about. That's all I really care about. I don't care, and they're getting something out of it. So you're gonna get some haters every once in a while, but you know what? Who cares? There's haters in every single industry.
I heard a quote actually on Friday. I heard a quote that it was a guy named Dan Henry. I don't know if you know him. He's a marketer. He's actually my business coach, or he's coaching me on a lot of different stuff. But because he does a lot of video, also he gets trolls all the time, and he was saying that nobody leaves a comment on your videos that is doing better than you are. So I mean, just think about that. And it's
It's
true because
true.
because I don't go and troll people and other, it's basically like the only people that are doing that have nothing else going on. And when you just kind of remember that, then
Yeah,
you kind of just almost feel bad for those people. But it's also a sign that you're getting out there when you start getting haters. But what I do is I always delete
absolutely.
those comments because it's I always delete negative comments. I always tell people to delete negative comments just because of the fact that it's easier once there's one negative comment, it's easier for more trolls to keep piling on than if you've got, if there's no negative comments. Nobody wants to go to a party and start being a jerk, but if there's
Absolutely.
already a bunch of jerks at the party, they'll just kind of it's easier for them to do it. So,
It's a good
but
point. Really good point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it's like at some point. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff. I'm horrible on camera, and like I don't know if you can see, but I have permanent raccoon eyes from sunglasses because I go running and I wear sunglasses and I get sunburnt, and it's like it is what it is. I can't help it, So, but yeah, I get comments about that type of stuff. But nobody. I also don't see anybody doing better than me. That's leaving
Right.
comments on my videos. So or at least negative comments on my videos.
So true. So true. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't.
So
I guess I delete them every once in a while. Like the ones I saw today, I haven't deleted them yet. I will just because the one it was like it was just it made no sense. There were all these spelling errors and there was curse words
yeah.
in there, and it made no sense. The response made no sense. It was about an old video I did probably 5 or 6 years ago about whenever I was doing criminal defense about getting a warrant recalled, and so it had something to do with that. They live in another state, and I have no idea what their comment meant, but it was just like, what the hell? Or like, what are you doing all day where you have time to sit down and just troll people on YouTube? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So basically, for the attorney that knows, I mean, I talk to a lot of attorneys and everyone pretty much agrees that social media is the way to go, but no one can really kind of figure out where to start. A lot of people can't. So what advice would you give an attorney who knows that social media is the way to go, but they don't necessarily know where to start? What would you tell them to do?
I'd say start with just one social media platform is probably where I'd say to start. My advice, I'm guessing if I'm giving this advice to someone, they're probably an older attorney, probably in their mid 40s or above, and I don't really consider that an older attorney, but if that's who I'm advising, it's probably someone 45 or older.
Mhm.
I'd probably recommend that they get into Facebook then if that's what their age group is, because that's where all of their people are going to be probably. So I'd probably get into social media on Facebook. If it's a younger person, I'd say go to Instagram. People seem to be more heading that way, but I don't know. I mean, it seems like Facebook has been very versatile, and they've been able to adapt, even though all these other platforms have come out. I mean, they are the one of the originals. I mean, they are the biggest, and I think that if you're starting out, you may want to dip your toe with that, but also just pull the curtain back, show who you are. So start with one platform. Let's say it's Facebook, and start show what you do. I mean, just show what you do. Show pictures of yourself outside the courtroom or outside the courthouse. Um, I mean, I don't know, shoot some pictures at your desk. I mean, things like that where people get to peek in because being a lawyer is not something that most people get to be. There's a reason why there's a lot of doctor shows and lawyer shows on TV because people dream about being them or they find it very interesting. And so if you can reveal yourself and show the things that you do, it's interesting to these people. Okay. And you get to reveal yourself to them and they get to know you better and then they're going to call you when they need something. So that's what I would say is, so I guess one, pick one platform. Let's say it's Facebook. Two, pull the curtain back, and three, put content out there. Just put content out there. And it's like I have this three things that came up. That's just on the fly, you know. I mean, like it's just, I
Yeah,
mean, it seems it's pretty basic, but that's what social media is. It's interacting with people. It's basic. It is like one of the most basic things we do as humans is communicate with each other. And that's what you're doing. Just communicate with people.
yeah. It's like, it's funny. You brought up a good point, just documenting what you do. That's what Gary Vaynerchuk, that's one of his biggest things is document, don't create.
Yeah.
So one other question for you, and then I'll let you go here. You manage a firm and
Mhm.
you're a practicing attorney and you also manage to do social media. So how do you balance that all out? How often do you do videos and create content in social media? How do you make it all work for you? Because a lot of people have this kind of, I'm going to say it's a misconception that they don't have time for both. So how do you do it?
That's BS. I mean, you have time for it because I mean, my guess is the people, especially watching this video, are already are on social media. So they've already had some sort of connection. They've got the account set up. It's just them not putting out the content. You were talking about your coach. I mean, something that I've got. Here's how much I believe in it. I have on my calendar for every day at 3:30 Central Time to produce 30 minutes of content, and so you need to, if you don't have it slotted, you need to slot it on your calendar to start basically producing content. And so carve out a time each week or each day to produce it and then get it out there. And then you can use things that are pretty helpful like Hootsuite. Um, there's another one I can't. You probably know the name of where you can schedule these posts out. Um,
Buffer.
Buffer, yeah, the Buffer. I don't use Buffer. Another one that is really good, I'm pulling it up, is Agorapulse, Agorapulse. And that's one where you can schedule these things out and you can communicate all in one app. And so it's not that complicated. So I think just get it on your calendar and just put it out there. You have to it's another marketing channel. Okay, so you have to treat it that way. You have to harvest your crops, so to speak. Or you plant the seeds and then later on you harvest your crops. And so you're every day you're planting your seeds, you're tending your crops. You have to keep doing that. It's not a one shot thing like with pay per click where you spend a little money and you get some phone calls. It doesn't work that way with social media. You have to do it every single day and spend time on it and interact with people. It's a really big mistake if you know let's say you spend a month just pumping stuff out there and then you just go radio silent and no one hears from you. Well, one, I think probably Facebook's probably with their algorithm is going to push you down on the feed because they want to see that consistent interaction. But the other part is like people want to hear from you, interact with you, and so doing it in quick bursts like that don't work that much. So you have to be consistent about it.
Yeah. And the other nice part is that everybody makes excuses. So if you can actually do it and just stay with it, unlike pay-per-click and unlike search engine optimization, and unlike the radio and unlike billboards, you have no competition. That's the most appealing part of it for
Right.
me, is that there's no competition, because the barrier to entry, it's not that hard, but most people think it's hard, and
Absolutely.
that keeps a lot of people away. And the attorneys that are actually following what I say, like I talked to a guy yesterday. He started doing what I told him to do in September. I got an update from him yesterday. He's already gotten 4 cases. 2 of them are wrongful death cases, and it's just from social media, and just it's from a Facebook group that has 300 people in it. It's
Absolutely.
like this stuff works. It absolutely works. He's in New Orleans, I think, so that's a huge
Yeah,
market. You know,
there's no tricks to it. There really isn't.
yeah,
I mean, there's no creativity to it. I mean, I don't mean to dumb this down too much, but you just do it. I mean, you reveal yourself. You make sure you don't sound like an asshole when you do it, and you just be yourself. Be nice to people. Interact with people on social media, and it's kind of just happens. It's easy.
absolutely. All right, cool. Well, listen, it was great chatting. Where can people? I know you have the Maximum Lawyer Facebook group. Everyone should hop in there, and also the Maximum Lawyer podcast. What's the website? Is it just maximumlawyer.com?
Yeah, maximumlawyer.com.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, the best place to go is just the Facebook group. Get involved there. You have to request to be in it, and then agree not to market to people, and you can come to the group. I mean, it's a great group. I mean, Jim Hacking is my co-host. We hardly interact with, or we interact on it, but we hardly like post things on it anymore. Where it's mostly other people just posting stuff, and we interact with them. I mean, it's a great environment. People are more than willing to share all their secrets. It's great.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I've been in there too. Actually, I'm going to put some marketing videos in there if you don't mind. I won't sell anything. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
value. That's all I
Yeah.
do.
We
So
do let we let a few marketers like you in because if we have you on the show and interview you and we trust you, we let you in, and people like that because they get something out of it. So
actually, I recorded a video just for you. I'm gonna I'm gonna show how to create thumbnails for YouTube and for newsletters, so that people
fantastic.
actually open your stuff. So
I like that.
I'll
That's
put that in
perfect.
there. Yeah,
I
yeah. And
like
I
it.
know you were impressed with my YouTube channel art, so I
It's
figured I'll show
good.
you how to do it
Yeah, it's
easily.
great. It really is
Yeah.
good. I love your art. It's good. So
Thanks. All right, cool. All right, well, this was great chatting with you, and we will talk to you soon.
all right, man. See you.